fire through.
My name is Officer Ryan Railsback, Public Information Officer with the Riverside Police Department. Sometime between 10:30 and 11 a.m., our officers responded to a check the welfare call here in the 11,200 block of Price Court regarding some type of disturbance that may have occurred between a female and a male near a vehicle. Before they arrived and shortly after that call, some calls came into our dispatch center regarding a fire or smoke being seen at the same location. The fire department arrived on scene first, and during the course of them extinguishing the fire, they notified our officers that they found 3 people deceased inside the house. I don't have any description, any gender, any ages right now of the 3 deceased. Right now we are treating this as a crime scene, a criminal investigation, but I don't have much more than that to release right now. I'll bring up a fire over here that can talk about if you have any questions about the fire, or you can just talk about the response to the fire itself.
As previously mentioned, approximately 11:05 this morning, we had the Riverside City Fire Department respond with a structure response to a residential structure fire. The smoke and fire was issuing from the front side. They made an interior fire attack where they found the 3 victims. They extracted them to a safe location where they were determined to be deceased at the time.
Sir, what's your first name?
First name Paul, P-A-U-L. Last name Seawright, S-E-A-W-R-I-G-H-T.
Were you are you captain on 12?
No, sir.
Okay. I heard on the scanner someone from engine 12 do a size up and said, basically called the police. I believe we have 3 murder victims. Can you tell me what the firefighter saw that made him think that these people had been murdered?
We don't want to go into detail. We do believe they are victims of a homicide, but I can't say other than that.
Were there any other people pulled out of the fire or reported to be as victims?
3 total.
3 total. Officer Railsback, the census records show 4 members of appear to be the same family living there. Do you have a bolo out, or you are on someone, or have you arrested anyone?
No, there have been no arrests. Other than that, I don't have much to go on right now. We're still very early on in this investigation. We are looking to see if who these 3 victims are, if anybody was related to this original call of a check the welfare that we received, but we're still looking. Our detectives are on scene. They're still looking into all that.
Who made the call then, the welfare check?
I don't know if it was a neighbor or a witness, a passer, someone on the street just called and said there appeared to be some type of activity or disturbance, something concerning them at least, that they saw involving some female and a male near a car. It doesn't look like there's the vehicle described as there, so we don't know if they left prior, what the case was.
So this was something that they saw or heard outside of the home?
Yeah,
The car.
yeah.
And where was the car? In the driveway, on the street?
I think somewhere near the house or near in front of it. I don't know exactly where.
And so did they say it was an argument or a physical fight? What details did they provide?
Just that they wanted us to check the welfare on something that was going on, some type of disturbance, that's all.
And so to be clear, that call came in, and then subsequently, how much time later before a call came in?
I don't know the exact amount of time, but it was before our officers arrived, so our officers sound like the police were dispatched first based on this check the welfare call, and then sometime before they arrived is when the call for the smoke being seen.
And so when you say you have, you're looking at a crime scene and homicide, are we, with respect to all 3 victims or just 2?
Don't know. We just have 3 bodies inside, and it appears that it is a homicide. Couldn't tell you if it's on 1, 2, or 3 of them.
Do you know
at least one of them.
Do you know at what level the call was prioritized? I mean, I know you have different priorities based on, hey, there's a disturbance, or hey, someone's walloping somebody.
I don't know what type of priority call it was. Yeah, I haven't seen the call myself to see that if it, it's not like there was I don't think there's anything about an actual fight or like a domestic violence or something, going on.
Captain Seawright, because there's no fire, is arson investigators also going to be on scene to look at suspicious fire?
That's correct. RPD is the primary investigative body, and arson investigators from the fire department are assisting in that function.
Any cause yet?
Are we looking for like any kind of accelerant use or ignition source?
It's an ongoing investigation right now. We'll leave that to RPD for the primary details.
So we can't see from here. Can you give us an idea of the damage to the house? Exactly what are we talking about from the fire perspective?
To the front of the structure. So when you enter, most often at home, you have a family area. In that area was where the victims were located and where the primary fire source was observed.
Is the house a loss, or did it go through the rest of the home?
It's an ongoing investigation at this time.
So the three people were found in the front of the home. Would you describe it a living room, near the front door? How could you place that?
In that general area, but like I said, the details are with RPD and being discovered at this time.
From a firefighting perspective, difficult to put out the fire, or give us some conditions update, please?
I can't report on those facts now.
Captain Seawright, if you could you talk to us just about the time your firefighters arrived to when the fire was put out? Because looking from our Air 7 video, we can see that the fire did go through the roof. So obviously your first initial thing is to get the victims out, but how long afterwards were you able to get the fire out?
As a fire service, our goals are always life, property, and the environment, and they extracted those victims to a safe location. Unfortunately, they succumbed to those injuries. They did have fire attack and had knocked down on the fire in approximately 8 minutes.
So 8 minutes to knock down the fire, but when you got here, how involved was the fire? Like, was it coming out of the windows? Was there heavy smoke?
Those facts are with RPD now, and they're being discussed in the investigation.
Were there any environmental issues or anything that was, weather, winds, anything that was contributing or made it difficult to put out the fire?
I can't comment on those right now.
As a firefighter, you can't comment on that?
Those facts are being reported with the RPD, and we're working with them closely.
I'm talking about wind and like environmental that you guys deal with as firemen. Can you give us an idea about that, please?
The fire was extinguished with the fire control lines that were put in place.
Based on your, how long have you been a firefighter, sir?
15 years, sir.
So based on your experience, should these people have died from the level of fire or smoke that was in the building?
I wasn't on scene to observe those conditions.
At this point, we don't necessarily believe they died because of the fire. But I can't tell you how, because I don't know how. But
Do you have any contact with any family member?
say that again.
Do you have any contact with any family member or homeowner?
Our detectives are looking to identify who owns this house, who lives at this house. So that I can't tell you. That's just still ongoing, and that may. I don't know if they're in contact with anybody yet.
And
I don't
you
know
said-
who lived here yet.
And you said earlier you were treating this as a crime scene.
Yes.
Do you have any suspect?
Not at this point.
Captain,
Have
there
you
was
been able to speak
a
to the
man and
person
a
that
woman
called
in.
for the welfare check?
Our detectives have been interviewing the people who have called for everything, including the fire.
And what other information have they shed some light on?
I can't tell you anything else that's been discovered.
To be clear, you can't identify the victims, their gender you mentioned, or their age, because you can't tell, or you're not releasing that to us.
The way when we determine that there's a crime scene in a homicide investigation, we can't just go back into the house when we don't have anybody who can give us the authority to go into that house. So there's a process. We have someone from the district attorney's office here. There's got to be an investigative process with warrants, search warrants, things like that before we can go in there and meticulously look at what we have. The bodies are still inside the house, so we haven't been able to go inside and conduct that thorough investigation yet.
Perhaps I'm confused because I thought you said they brought them out, the firefighters brought out the victims
That-
to where?
That's correct. They extracted them from the fire conditions into the area on the front lawn.
So we,
On the front lawn of the house.
yeah, so we're not releasing, we're still in the process of identifying them. We have to have the coroner's office respond. There's a lot of pieces to this puzzle that we have to do first, but we're not prepared to say anything about who these victims were,
So even their genders.
even their genders at this point. Hopefully we'll be able to get you that information in a little bit when it becomes available, but right now it's not.
Are you in the process of getting a search warrant?
That's what the kind of the normal investigative actions that our detectives will take, so they can, we do the entire property or crime scene. They want to go in there and search every inch of it if they can.
There was a couple here, a man wearing red or plaid, wedding red and white plaid, and a woman wearing red. They were standing here talking to Officer Donaldson for a long time. Sir, you might have seen them. Are they the homeowners?
I can't speak to any of that.
Yeah, I don't know who the homeowners are at all.
With
at this
respect to the disturbance or the welfare check call, did those two people in question that were arguing or whatever they were doing, did they leave the area?
It's possible that they did leave. We haven't contacted anybody that's described, that was described in being involved in that disturbance so far.
Have you done a
vehicle description? Was this caller able to give you that?
We have some information on the vehicle that our detectives are looking into, but we're not prepared to release any of that.
Have you done a premise history?
People that were arguing or whatever it was that they had outside of the home, we don't know if they left or if they went back inside of the home.
We don't believe they went back inside the house. It sounds like they left, but they're confirming all that.
Have you done a premise history? Any information at this moment on prior contacts, calls for service?
Well, that's something our detectives would do. I'm sure they're in the process of doing that if they haven't already, but I don't have any information, nor would we be ready to release anything of prior calls for service here. At this stage, it's way too early.
Is there an age range on the victims?
Not yet. I'll try to work on getting the gender and age range, but right now I don't have it.
So what happens next?
Well, our detectives are going to be out here for quite some time, as you can imagine, trying to get all that information. We'll update the media with any pertinent information that we think needs to get out to the public. We just don't know yet, if anything, in terms of suspects, in terms of these people who this disturbance was about. We're still trying to look into all that.
And then one more quick clarifier: were your officers on scene when the house was on fire, or was it while they were being dispatched? Then another call came in.
Sounds like before they arrived, so they were on the way when the calls for the fire started coming in. So I believe the fire department actually arrived on scene first, and then our officers arrived a short time later.
Thoughts, gentlemen, on what's happened here today?
Well, this is horrific. It's the day after Thanksgiving, and we don't know exactly what happened here, but we have 3 people that are deceased. So, yeah, it's just it's a horrific day.
Any injuries to anyone else?
In the house still, or are they outside the house?
Sounds like there might be right outside the house then.
They are outside,
Yeah.
just be outside the house?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Any injuries, civilians, firefighters, other than the 3?
No injuries reported.
Anything else?
Captain, care to elaborate a little bit on thoughts of the captain?
I think Officer Railsback said it best. It's a horrific day. In this season we celebrate family and being together, and I can't imagine losing a family member to an act like this or whatever may be later discovered.
Is smoke mostly the issue then throughout the rest of the back side of the house? You mentioned the fire was contained most of it.
Our arson investigators are conducting the fire flow path investigation. I can't release the details at that time, but what you
It burned on the first and second floor. I mean, we can see from the other street over there.
what you see on the exterior of the house is the only information that I can gather and give to you at this time.
Could you then relay that once again in a statement?
The exterior conditions of the burns that you see on the house or observe is what was sustained from the normal fire flow path. Arson investigators at this time are conducting their investigation, coupled with RPD as a primary lead in this investigation for whatever circumstances and conditions develop.
So as best as you can, sir, in layman's terms, where was this fire?
The fire, I can't speak to those facts. It's under investigation.
Okay.
It was inside the structure.
And you don't have anything as far as information yet on whether there was one point of origin, multiple points of origin, anything like that?
Those are great questions, and I can't it's a developing story.
Okay, sir, back to, you said it was in the front of the house, inside of the house.
That's where fire conditions were observed, and that's where the victims were extracted from.
Pull outside, but not outside of the house, to another area of the house?
Outside of the house and onto the front lawn.
So there's no way of actually being able to visibly see the house without the bodies being seen, is that correct?
That I don't know. In terms of like could I see, or could you see by seeing the front of the house, could you see the bodies?
Right.
Is that what you're asking?
Photo-wise, access-wise, that kind of.
I think he's saying that's why we're back.
Oh, well, the house is only what, 3 houses down, I think. So it's not a very deep cul-de-sac at all. So we just have this out because it's a crime scene, and we don't want anybody getting close. It's not just because there may be some bodies out front, which that's a big concern. We don't want people to necessarily see that, just out of respect for the victims, and anybody else who lives here may know them. But
Perspective or timeline for any of these people that live on the street, how long that you would anticipate?
I would say through the night, at least. Yeah, I think our detectives will be here for many hours.
But instantly there was something that you knew right away, not you, but that knew right away that it was time to call homicide detectives.
Yeah, when fire went inside and found the 3 deceased victims, they believed it was a homicide. And we don't know if the fire was set before, set after. We don't know any of that. We just know that we have 3 people that are deceased in there from a apparent homicide, and the house was set on fire or caught on fire.
And there's something in there that does not lend you to believe that it was smoke inhalation that put them dead. There's something visible that you could tell.
Yeah, there's some type of evidence that suggests that they didn't die of smoke inhalation from a fire, and that could just be the fact that the fire was put out pretty quick.
Any weapons found on the scene?
Say that, a
Any
weapon?
weapon?
No, I don't know. I don't know. They haven't been able to go through so far yet.
Officer Railsback, I have one question for you. So I just want to, you had said that you couldn't elaborate whether there was 1 homicide victim or 3. Do we have any idea whether this might be a murder-suicide type situation?
Don't know yet. Don't know yet. Anything else?
Oh, and just to clarify, as far as whether you're looking for a suspect, you don't know yet, or you're not releasing that yet? Or
We don't necessarily know yet.
If you
We have a suspect of something. Yeah.
Okay.
But again, our detectives are looking into every single possibility.
Are you going to brief us again?
We can. I don't know yet when we'll have any information, but if you're still out here, we'll make sure to update everybody.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. It was nice. I shut off everything.
I know.
But I knew-
One time, and